everybody, so today I'm going to be covering a solved murder case, and it's a serial killer and it is the Weepy-Voiced Killer. So to start, just before I get into the video, I just want to say that I got all my information off the internet and I don't mean to disrespect anyone that is spoken about in this video. If I do get any bits wrong, then do let me know, but everything I found has seemed to be like the same on each website, but yeah. Also, sorry if I keep looking down, I've just got my notes and I'm going to be quoting some of the phone calls, so need to look down for them. Let's get on into the video. So the Weepy-Voiced Killer was a man named Paul Michael Stefani, and he was born on the 8th of September 1944 in Austin in the US. He was one of 10 children and they were a very religious family, but I couldn't really find much into his childhood. There wasn't much to find, so I'm assuming he had a good upbringing, but I'm obviously not going to jump to conclusions. He was married to a lady called Beverly Lyder and they had a daughter together, and he was active between 1980 and 1982, and his signature, if you want to call it, was that he would ring the police after a murder and would cry on the phone and tell them the location. On New Year's Eve in 1980, a 20-year-old university student called Karen Potak was leaving a party that she'd been with her friends. About 1 o'clock in the morning, a man came up to her and attacked her with a tire iron. Then around 3 AM, a man called the police, crying and very emotional, saying that there was a girl hurt there and told them the location. But then when they asked for his name, he hung up and left. He'd gone when the police got there, and they'd found her in a snowbank near railroad tracks, and her skull was very smashed and her brain was exposed. But despite all that, she did actually recover. She started recovering physically, but she couldn't remember anything about the attack, about her attacker. She lost all her memory about it, but she did actually survive the attack. So on the 3rd of June 1981, Kimberly Crompton, 18-year-old girl, and I think she was leaving a bar, and I'll explain why that is in a minute. She was stabbed in the chest 61 times and strangled with a shoelace. Police got a phone call of this man screaming down the phone and crying and saying, and he said, "God damn, will you find me? I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody." And the police could track that phone call back to a payphone near a bar, and I couldn't find which bar that was, but that's why I'm assuming she's left the bar and she was going home, or I'm not too sure. I couldn't find much information on why she was there. When they got there, he was gone. But then a couple of days after, the police received another phone call apologising, saying that he didn't mean to kill her and that he would hand himself in, which gave police a little bit of hope, like this man was going to hand himself in and that was it, case closed, they could charge him and that was it. However, that didn't happen, and a few days later they got a man on the phone again saying that he apologising for not handing himself in, and that he said, "I'll try not to kill anyone else. I couldn't help it. I don't know why I stabbed her. I am so upset about it." So then on the 21st of July 1982, Carol Kellogg dog was going on vacation with her friend Kathleen Greening, who was 33 years old at the time. So they were meant to be leaving together, so Carol went to her house, went to Kathleen's house and knocked on the door, but there was no answer. So I think she knocked a couple more times and again there was no answer, but she knew she was going to be home because they were meant to be leaving together. They obviously arranged what time and everything, so she knew she was going to be at home. And the door was unlocked, so she went in, just thinking she might not have heard a knocking. So she went in, looked around the house, but then she got to a bathroom and the bathroom light was on, and that is when Carol found her friend Kathleen in the bathtub with her head under the tap and her knees were bent towards the front of the bathtub, and she was lying face up naked. So Carol rang the police and ambulance. The police ruled her death as an accident, and people that didn't believe that it was an accident blamed Kathleen's husband, which is quite hard when you know you've not done something but you've got people blaming you for your wife's death and you're still trying to grieve your wife's death, and you've just got people like, oh, you killed her. But he wasn't charged with anything. I don't think there was enough evidence to charge him with it. So then on August 5th, 1982, 40-year-old nurse Barbara Simons was at a bar called the Hexagon Bar. She'd met this man there and she offered him a cigarette. He accepted it, I think, and they got talking, and he then offered her a lift home, which she accepted. And she told the bartender that she was leaving with this man. So she left the bar, and that was the last anyone had seen of Barbara. That was until a man was walking along Mississippi River the next morning and found her on the floor dead. She had been stabbed to death. The police got a phone call the next morning, well, the next day, I think it was the next day, and the phone call said, "Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry I stabbed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times. Kimberly Crompton was the first one over in St. Paul." So then police started the investigation for Barbara's murder, and they went to the bar where she was and where she'd left with this man. And witnesses did say that he was around 40 years old, and he was about 6 foot and 185 pounds, around that, and that he was a white male with a receding hairline. That's what police had to work with. That's all they had, really. So then on the 21st of August 1982, 19-year-old Denise Williams was working. She was a sex worker, and this man approached her and they started speaking about prices, and then she got into his car, and then once he got what he paid for, he drove and went to a dead-end road, and Denise was a bit cautious. She was worried. She knew something wasn't right because this wasn't where she was wanting to go. But before she could think about what she was going to do and before she could think about how to escape, the man grabbed a screwdriver and started slashing her, and she got a total of 15. But she'd found a bottle near her feet and she smashed it on his head, and started screaming, which then caught the attention of a nearby neighbour who heard the screaming and came over and wrestled Stefani to the floor, but then he left. So this man offered her to come inside into his house just so he could call an ambulance, get her checked over, and she could give details of the attacker because she'd not lost any memory, and she's seen his face, so she could give details and a description. But as all this was going on, when Stefani got home, he obviously saw the damage that had happened to his head, so he rung for help. The person on the phone recognised the tone and said that he sounded like he had a similar tone to the Weepy-Voiced Killer. And then obviously this girl's been attacked and she's given details about what's happened, and she would have said that she hit him on the head with this bottle. So that's just happened, and the guy's ringing up for help saying that his head's hurt and he's been hit with a bottle or whatever. I think the person put two and two together. So Stefani was charged with second-degree assault of Denise Williams, and he also was connected to Barbara Simons' murder, just because he matched the description that witnesses gave from the bar. Stefani's ex-wife, sister and roommate could all say that he sounded like the phone call of the Weepy-Voiced Killer sounded like Stefani, but they couldn't connect him to their murders just because the crying claimed to be distort too much, so they couldn't really, I don't think it was strong enough evidence to do that. But he got a 40-year sentence for the assault and murder, for the assault of Denise Williams and the murder of Barbara Simons. And as he was serving that 40-year sentence in 1997, Stefani got diagnosed with cancer, given less than a year to live. This led him to confess to everything that he's done, responsibility for Karen Protak, Kimberly Crompton and Kathleen Greening. And the police were quite shocked to hear that he was responsible for Kathleen Greening drowning, because they ruled it as an accident. So when they went back to her house and investigated a little bit more, in a address book in her house was the name Paul S. and his phone number. Confessed to the attack of Karen Protak, the stabbing of Kimberly Crompton, the drowning of Kathleen Greening, the stabbing of Barbara Simons and the assault of Denise Williams. And in 1998, aged 53, Stefani died at the Oaks Park Heights maximum security prison. So yeah, he is dead now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you are into true crime and you want to see more, then I will be posting every week. And yeah, please like and subscribe for more, and I will see you all next week. Bye!